The Untouchables and the Pax Britannica by Baba Sahib Ambedkar. Part 5. It is during this period when the English people were wholly occupied in Europe in a deadly struggle with Napoleon and when they could not assist the East India Company in any way that India was conquered. It is thus which makes the conquest such an extraordinary event. How did this extraordinary event become possible? What is the explanation? Macaulay has given this explanation. He says, quotation not given in the manuscript. Continuing. Macaulay's explanation is the explanation which all Englishmen believe and like to believe. Being current for a long time, it has got a hold upon the minds of the English people and all European and American people. Indeed, an endeavor is made to inculcate this view upon the minds of the younger generation of English people. It is quite understandable. An important element in the makeup of an imperial race is the superiority complex, and Macaulay's view goes to foster it as nothing else can. But is Macaulay's view right? Do the facts of history support that view? Professor Seeley, who has studied this subject in a more realistic way than Macaulay, did say, in the early battles of the company, by which its power was decisively established at the siege of Arcot, at Plassey, at Buxar, there seem almost always to have been more sepoys than Europeans on the side of the company. And let us observe further that we do not hear of the sepoys as fighting ill or of the English as bearing the whole brunt of the conflict. No one who has remarked the childish eagerness with which historians indulge their national vanity will be surprised to find that our English writers, in describing these battles, seem unable to discern the sepoys. Read Macaulay's essay on Clive. Everywhere it is the imperial people, the mighty children of the sea. None could resist Clive and his Englishmen. But if once it is admitted that the sepoys always outnumbered the English and that they kept pace with the English in efficiency as soldiers, the whole theory which attributes our successes to an immeasurable natural superiority in valor falls to the ground. In those battles in which our troops were to the enemy is 1 to 10, it will appear that if we may say that one Englishman showed himself equal to 10 natives, we may also say that one sepoy did the same. It follows that, though no doubt there was a difference, it was not so much a difference of race as a difference of discipline, of military science, and also, no doubt, in many cases, on difference of leadership. Observe that Mill's summary explanation of the conquest of India says nothing of any natural superiority on the part of the English. The two important discoveries for conquering India were first, the weakness of the native armies against the European discipline, and secondly, the facility of imparting the discipline to natives in the European service. He adds, both discoveries were made by the French. And even if we should admit that the English fought better than the Sepoys and took more than their share in those achievements which both performed in common, it remains entirely incorrect to speak of the English nation as having conquered the nations of India. The nations of India having been conquered by an army the on the average about a fifth part was English. But we do not only exaggerate our own share in this achievement, we at the same time entirely misconceive and misdescribe the achievement itself. From what race were the other four-fifths of the army drawn? From the natives of India themselves. India can hardly be said to have been conquered at all by foreigners. She has rather been conquered herself. Full stop.